Hey guys, I want to talk about the shooting in Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Evidently, two officers were ambushed. I think one of them was trying to protect the other one. The guy, I'm not sure if he's been caught this time or not. So they want the assailant, but a reward, big reward, and they were putting out things on Facebook or social media where they were using racist tropes. Come get that money and all this stuff. And people made a big deal about it, and the sheriff's department took it down real quick. And I just thought about how, like, stuff like that shows you where law enforcement is today. Like, all this racist stuff with Trump, a part of me feels like that's not as big of a threat, maybe, as we make it. I mean, obviously, if you're running around in East Texas or whatever, be careful. Because be careful. But for the average person, I think that's maybe not as big of a threat as we think it is. But sometimes the right makes it out as though we're progressive, like Nikki Haley talking about taking down the Confederate flag, like that was, Republicans got better or something. And I've told you guys about they took it down because of Dylan Roof. That wasn't because Republicans just said, "Oh, let's stop being racist." No, that was a PR move, and they had to do something. I never said they were stupid. Yeah, they had to do something. So that was a move based upon a traumatic incident that had taken place in the Charleston, was 7 or 9 or 8, I believe, the black people that got murdered in that church. When I was going to school for criminal justice, and when I was a kid, I was always told the policeman was supposed to be holding up to a higher standard. Those cops getting shot at, that's tragic. And I put a prayer out there for their families, and I hope their families are taken care of. I'm sure they'll be taken care of. But I guess what bothers me is that you would think that area is like more progressive, because it's California, it's Los Angeles, more progressive and all that stuff. And for them to use racist tropes like that, it just reminds me once again that we're not as far along as maybe we like to believe we are. We're not. And it's kind of sad to put that. I'll make another point. There was a video I heard about this guy, Sheriff Lujan in New Mexico. He had a bunch of charges. He has now lost his credentials as sheriff, and there's a context. There's a video out there of him, him putting a search warrant on his house or his building or whatever, and they come in and put him in cuffs. I think he was drunk. He's complaining about the cuffs. Cuffs are real light. Several officers checked the cuffs. And the sheriff, another department, shows up, and he's like, "What are y'all doing here? You're fucking up." And the cops are like, "Dude, the court issued an order. Like, what do we're doing our law enforcement duty." And it's almost like coming to blows, and he starts calling for other units, other officers to come 1033 emergency, which is stupid. Anytime you do stuff like that, that's dangerous. That many cops running that hard because they can hit somebody else. Somebody can run a red light. I'm out here every day. I know how folks drive. So when you're running like that in emergency, it's dangerous. And you have people who want to get hit by a police car anyway. You know that. What he did was reckless. And I thought about how, once again, police supposed to hold us to a higher standard, and how stuff like this shows you that law enforcement is a gang. For many officers, a gang. It's like the dude said, officer involved means we're all involved. That's how they think. Whereas if that guy was thinking appropriately as a law enforcement officer should, he would say, "Hey, I'm going to help you get legal representation. I'm going to protect you. But what you did, this is your This is your road. This is your path to walk. And they even brought the other officer they brought him to do his gun. They brought him the magazine. It was like, hey, we can give you this. Well, get inventory first. And he's like upset and stuff. He's getting in their face and stuff. It just reminded me that law enforcement, you're dealing with gang members. You're dealing with gang members. Like, you don't even know what the warrant's about. That's your business. And they always tell us that. They always when we ask questions, they always tell us to mind up, don't they? They always tell us that. Ain't your business. No, what business is it of yours? They always tell you that. And I just, whether it be the Lou John video I seen or this business with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, it put law enforcement in a bad light to me. And I don't want to say put a human face on law enforcement, but people are talking about now, will they ever be able to get back the connection with the community? I don't know, but this shows they're not walking a higher path, because if that's your first thought is to make racist tropes, that this is kind of like the Central Park Karen chick called the police on the black man talking about the dog being dragged. Like, nobody does that the first time by accident. Like, that lady did that, calling the police, lying, knowing something could happen. Then she's like, you can record this. I want to show you what side the police are on. Because when those cops show up, blue lights flashing, siren wailing, they jump out that car, anything can happen. Anything can happen. They could drop him on his head. They could push him and he hit his head. You don't know. And she wanted him to apologize. Like, no, there's no apology. Apology is when I step on your toe. Apology is when I bump into you. Apology is not when I call the police on you, lying, looking you dead in your eyes. Like, that's like me pulling a gun on you, pulling the trigger and it jamming and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I can't kill you today. No. I'm going to try to kill you after that. No. Just because I didn't die doesn't mean, okay, it's okay. And the same thing with this. That's a mind state. That's a mindset, and that's a behavior practice of this is how I feel about black people. And I just thought about like black sheriff deputies in Los Angeles. Like, how do they feel about that? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, some cops got shot. That's fucked up. They were ambushed. It's fucked up. But your first mindset is to go to racist shit. They always tell us, wait till all the details. Don't they always say that? Wait till all details come out. They always tell us that. They don't do that. They don't do that, do they? I just, if I was a black sheriff deputy, I thought about the movie Glass Shield. And in many ways, I guess the world hasn't really changed since that movie came out, Glass Shield. Black sheriff deputy. He was like, he liked his job and all this stuff. And he encountered police brutality and corruption. Good movie. Glass Shield. Yeah. Yep. In some ways, things haven't really changed. Peace.